Here we have a new 2023 Nissan Armada. And this one comes in the SV trim level in super black on charcoal leatherette interior. Our powertrain on this Armada consists of a 5.6 liter naturally aspirated V8 engine, made it to a 7-speed automatic transmission. And that allows us to have 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. Now coming around to the front here, really nice look here. Nissan's known for having some good looking vehicles. We do get our LED headlamps along with our LED fog lights. And the LED daytime running lights do not flash like that. That's just how the camera's picking up the lights. And I do like the front here, how we have the gloss black, the mirror finish, and very little plastic. And even that is hidden there underneath the grille. So it looks really, really premium, even though it's in the SV trim level. Now down here we do get 18-inch aluminum wheels. We get passive keyless entry on the front two doors, and this one has the integrated side steps, which are nice. And then to the door panel here, we have power folding mirrors with blind spot monitors. We can control the mirrors themselves by pushing that little button either to the left or right, and then adjusting with the 4 arrows there. Window lock here, and then I love that we get one-touch auto up and down on all 4 windows. And that one goes all the way down, which is nice. And then a map pocket here, pretty good sized cup holder here. And then extras on this one, we do just have the Nissan safety shield we can toggle there. It comes standard. And I do like that we get a standard tilt and telescoping steering wheel, even in this SV trim level. And then here's our power driver's seat with power lumbar support. Now hopping in the back here, I do love the legroom in the Armadas. Of course, this is a big SUV, but I have the seat in front of me adjusted for someone of my size. I have longer legs, I'm 6'3", and I still have about an inch or two between my kneecaps in the back of the seat, and then I have several inches of headroom as well, so really impressive. So most people shouldn't have trouble fitting 5 adults in the vehicle at one time. And we do have rear automatic AC controls. I can control fan speed, I can toggle the auto mode, and then I can set if I want it coming from the upper vents, the lower vents, or both, and then temperature here. And then one of my favorite options in the back is having this tray that we can open up from back here and stow a little in there if we need to. And then we can also move that back tray when it's up from the front. So if your kids like to have candy or whatever they can reach, you can put in that upper tray and then keep all your stuff in the bottom. And then down here we have 12-volt USB-C and USB-A fast charge port there to keep the tablets up and running. And then this center seat also folds down. We have cup holders here. Now looking at the third row, we do get vents back there, which is nice. So not having to share the air with the back passengers, or with the second row passengers. And we get the more premium dome lights back here as well. Clothes hangers. And even like on the door here, I love this kind of gloss black finish. None of the plastic is visible from back here on the door. And there's that third row, which we'll go check that out next. Fuel filler there. I like that I don't have to pull a lever up front. Just need to push it. And then here we have our tail lights, parking sensors down below. Now with this one being an SV, we don't get a power lift gate, but still pretty easy to maneuver. We have another 12 volt back there, and then to pull the seats down the third row, you just pull up here and then push, and it'll fold. And what's cool about that is you can fold this flat and then fold that second row flat, and I'll show you. I shouldn't say fold it flat, but we can fold it up. And then you have all that space for whatever you may need. And then you can fit your kids back here if you want to, but I wouldn't. Maybe shorter adults can fit back there, but I definitely cannot fit back in the third row comfortably. We have a little storage there, and then we have a jack there. And then our spare is underneath the vehicle. Now I do like that even though this isn't a power lift gate, you can kind of soft close and it'll finish closing for you. And then we can just put the seat back. Actually not as difficult as I would have thought to do. And then here we have our power front passenger seat with power lumbar. And before I go on to the engine bay and such, let's take a look at this window sticker. And what's interesting is all the standard features, because this is around the same price as maybe a similarly equipped Tahoe or Expedition, but even on this SV standard you get the intelligent cruise, forward collision alert, lane intervention, heated seats, and then also that navigation and radio. But a really good looking SUV ever since the refresh. And there's our 5.6 liter naturally aspirated V8. It's that same engine you can find in the Titan. And now let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. So we do get a leather wrap steering wheel here. And then to the radio over here, this is going to be that 12.3 inch screen. We get AM, FM, XM along with Bluetooth audio. And then we also have wireless Apple CarPlay, wired Android Auto compatibility. And I do like that the home button is here. Once you get used to it, it's nice to have because there's no actual home button by the screen. There is one below by the shifter, which I'll show you here momentarily. But we can get back to the home menu. We can customize the home page. We have our XM, so we can look at the fuel prices, sports scores, traffic. And there is our navigation system there. Of course, we can search. And then points of interest, you can pull all that stuff up. And it's actually a pretty intuitive system in my opinion. And here are our settings that we can customize or take a look at depending on what it is. And we have a volume knob here. We can mute by pushing the button there, and then we can actually go through our radio stations here. Our vents are here. We can close those off by pulling that down. Hazards there. And then down here we have our dual zone automatic climate controls. We can toggle that rear control, turn it on and off. But for the front two, temperature's there, auto mode is there. And then we can change the passenger side temperature, sync, fan speed, and then we can decide where the airflow is coming from using that button there. And everything else is pretty typical. Then we have 3-stage heated seats for the front. And underneath this kind of barrier here, we have a wireless charging pad, which I like that they did that because it looks really sleek. And then also it hides your phone at the same time. Then we have a 12-volt there. Trailer brake controller, USB-C, USB-A input there. And then we can go into our snow and ice mode here. Then we have our tow mode here, traction control here. And then for the 7-speed, you just hit this knob, pull down, reverse, neutral, drive, and then come over here and we can manually shift. And then we have all of our shortcuts for what we would normally use. So the navigation, the music, and then the home button. And then we can use this knob to actually scroll through if you don't want to use the touch screen. So I like having that dual capability because a lot of systems are either one or the other. So I like that I can either use the knob when I'm driving, or if I have time to look at the screen, I can use the touch screen. And then we have 2 cup holders stowed here. Up here we have our sunglasses holder, SOS. Premium dome lights here as well. And we can toggle whether we want the lights to come on when the doors are open. And our universal garage door transmitters in the mirror here. And then to open the center console from the front, we can do that. We do have a removable tray that we can put on either side, which I like having that capability, and then also being able to just have it empty. And there's a view of the back from up here. And then we have a lockable glove compartment with owner's manual. And it's just an interesting shape because there's a little room back here, but I don't think you're supposed to put anything back there. But I guess you could if you wanted to. I just don't know if it would close. So the buttons here, this is for our menu. All of this is, so we can use this as the OK button, then we can use it as the button to go through a menu. So what I'm trying to say is, when there's an actual menu that you can toggle through, which is basically in the settings, we can use this to scroll through all of that. And those are all of your settings there. And then once you're in there, you hit this OK button to actually go through, which is kind of confusing because I want to just go right, like just use these buttons to go through, and just use this as an OK button, and use this as a back button, but you actually have designated buttons, and then this is just for your quick shortcuts on the main page. And then we have volume controls here, and we have our track list or radio station favorites that we can go through here. It'll show you the presets as I go through them. Now to the right side of the steering wheel, we can adjust our gap adjust for the collision alert as well as the radar cruise control, and then we can set, resume, cancel, and then we can toggle that there, and then we can put on the safety shield as well. Then we have a mute and a voice recognition button, and this also serves as a cancel button. And actually, if you hold this button down here, you can toggle between standard cruise and then your radar cruise control. And then this is actually, I think I messed up. This is the Bluetooth button, and then this is the voice recognition button there. And then we can go through our, whether we want our odometer set to the trip we're on or to how many miles are actually on the vehicle. We can do all that there, and then we can toggle the brightness using these two buttons here. And then headlamp controls here, auto, corners, and then we can toggle our fog lights, blinkers, high beams, flash them. And then for our windshield wipers, we hold back for the fluid in the back, hold forward for the fluid in the front, and then we can turn on the intermittent on the back wiper or turn them all the way on, and then we can adjust our intermittent here, and then we have off, intermittent here, then low, high. And I like that you have that on the screen there. You can adjust your wiper mode so you kind of know where you are with the intermittent. And then we have our push button start. And finally we have our key fob with remote start. But next it's time we go ahead and take this 2023 Armada SV out on the road for a quick test drive. So the Armada is a really, really good SUV for those who have big families, especially a lot of kids, but also for people who want something that looks great, but is also a hoss when it comes to towing. These are known for towing boats, big trailers, and that's one of the reasons they put the 5.6 liter and 7-speed automatic in these Armadas, because they basically have the same capabilities as the Titans without the beds for the most part. And having 400 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque, this really does have some pull to it. And what makes it crazy is this is a huge SUV. And even with a V8, a lot of vehicles just don't pull like this. But these are actually really quick for what they are. Now I will say these tend to feel a little top heavy, but they actually handle pretty nicely. And this engine is plenty peppy, which I really like. And then here we have the intelligent cruise control. It's hard to keep track of all the names because everybody who has adaptive cruise control names it something else. But really, really solid ride here. Just really smooth, really refined. And I feel like it doesn't ride as choppy as the older Armadas. Like this feels like a luxurious SUV in terms of the ride control. Very impressed. And one thing a lot of people like about the Armadas, which I actually do for what it is, I like that you get to ride so high. I mean, this really is the pickup truck version of the Titan, kind of like the Sequoia to the Tundra. And really, I can't think of any other comparison that's kind of equal from another manufacturer. Toyota and Nissan are just the ones that come to mind. I can't think of anything comparable. But just really, really nice being able to ride this high, but also have 3 rows. Now, I do want to compare this really quickly to the Tahoe and the Expedition, and even the Sequoia. You're not gonna have the same drive feel that you get in this, and depending on what you like, it could be a gift or a curse. This drives, to me, and it might just be the steering feel, it feels like a Jeep. Now, it doesn't handle like a Jeep, but it has that same kind of steering feel to it, where I have to turn the steering wheel quite a bit to get to where I need to be, as opposed to the Tahoes. But all in all, definitely a really good option if you need a 3-row SUV and you don't necessarily need to spend 70 or 80 grand for certain features. For under 60,000, this is pretty on point in terms of pricing with the competitors. And then my only other comment is going to be, gas will get expensive. So if you're looking for something that you don't necessarily need all that room and all that towing capability, you can go ahead and get the Pathfinder, an SL or even a Platinum for around the same price, and still be plenty happy. But with all that being said, this is going to bring me to the end of my review of the new 2023 Nissan Armada SV.